Uh, uh.
Hey, sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports Dudes here live on this nice Tuesday night in the Midwest. I got my man Mossberg of Level Up Sports 10, also WTP Sports Dudes here with us this evening. How you feeling, Mossberg?
I'm feeling great. Back with another banger, as we always say, and FanDuel and creating those great sayings as we always do. It's good to see post game as well down there, and just thankful for you as always say, man, just giving us the platform and that phone call. I just every day this year, in the last month, I just been thinking about that phone call. Just being able to get into something. So it's different. I love it, and just ready to get into tonight's show for sure.
We also got our Midwesterner with us tonight. Post game is in the house. How you feeling this evening post game of the post game podcast?
Hey man, it's always great to be on with the WTP Sports Dudes. All my babies made honor rolls, and I smell like Versace, so I must be blessed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For sure. How many babies you have, by the way, post game?
Oh, I got four. Three are in school though.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, y'all, it's been a lot of talk going around with Pro Football Focus and the Football Power Index. They've been putting a lot of information out about best position groups by teams, and we're going to talk a little bit about the offense today, and we're also going to talk about the top 20 from the Football Power Index to see what their thoughts are on these top 20 teams and their chances of winning a national championship. But before we get into that, how was y'all's day today?
To start off with you post game, I'm gonna let you go ahead and get that Versace off your chest, man. Because being a father, it ain't nothing feeling better than how you feeling, and I'm gonna get to that as you finish up.
Oh, just another day, another dollar. Kids out of school, driving me crazy, trying to eat me out of house and home. But other than that, like I said, man, I'm blessed.
Definitely, man. It's a good thing, and just thinking, I have a son that graduated, my junior, and him and both of his sisters, and they graduated from the same high school. So that's like an epic doing for me. And shout out, as we said before in the previous show, man, to this graduating class all over the world, and not even just the graduating class from high school, just every individual class, whether you first grade, kindergarten through first grade, if you had a graduation, shout out to you. Whether you know it or not, you're going to be something that could change the world. And if you just keep that mindset, it can definitely happen. I'm here at 42, got the call from my uncle, and we've been doing something that's been able to change my life, here at my age. So definitely for the youth out there, man, just keep stepping in what you're doing and don't never let up, never give up on what you're doing. As LeBron say, and yo great WTP Sports Dudes, yo go, strive for greatness.
That's right. Also, we got joining the show tonight our young buck, our man FanDuel Zaya of the FanDuel Zaya podcast, also WTP Sports Dudes. How you feeling this evening, FanDuel?
Man, I'm good. First, I want to start off by saying, damn, Moss, I thought you was neglecting us, man. Where the
Nah,
hell you been? Hey, where the hell you been, brother?
man,
Yeah,
listen.
hey, I don't do well with neglect, man. You know, hey, you gotta fit us in the schedule now. You feel me? But
My
I'm
bad.
good, man. What's up, post game? What's up, Mr. Rob? How y'all doing today? Y'all know what it is. We back with another banger.
Feeling good,
What up?
man.
What up? What up? What up? It's all
And
good.
also could say shout out to my niece as well, nieces and nephews, and especially Zaire. She's on her way to a full scholarship on her way to Tiffin University, man, playing soccer, running track, strive for it all, baby girl. Just continue to be successful in everything you do. But nah, Zay, they keeping me on that clock, man. It was a long 4 day stroll, turned into five, so back with
Hey,
another
I
bang.
totally understand, man. I just wanted to get my feelings out there that I feel the neglect. That's all.
I love it, man. I love it. Good to see you in here as well, boss.
Man, both you dudes Jamaicans with them 12 jobs, man. He talking about him like he ain't got 12 jobs too.
I still show up though. I
Yeah,
still show up.
we on
That
it.
is true. That is true.
I'll be in the comments though. I'll be in the comments.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up and I'm gonna talk to your boss. Like, hey man, let him have an earphone in or something, man. You know what I
Thank you.
mean? Hey, he need the earphone in his ear.
Appreciate it, man. Because he stepped away from the grill and be in the office watching the show. Shout out to the boss Joe, man, for stepping in the office and watching the show, talking to me about it. But let me go in the office and watch it, and you take my spot next week.
For sure, for sure. Well, yo, let's get into some of these questions, man, and see what Pro Football Focus is talking about. For those of you who are watching who aren't familiar with Pro Football Focus, it's a group of writers that write and tell you what they think about certain players, teams, who based on their ability to possibly make it to the NFL or to become a professional football player, and they also talk about position groups. Today, we're going to talk about the position groups that they talked about um, in terms of the offensive side of the ball. So, the first position group we're going to talk about is the Pro Football Focus top 10 teams on the offensive line. At number 10, they had Clemson. At number 9, they had Notre Dame. At number 8, they had Miami. At number 7, they had Auburn. At number 6, they had Iowa. At number 5, they had Oregon. At number 4, they had Florida. At number 3, they had Texas A&M. And number 2 was Utah. And at number 1, according to Pro Football Focus, they believe that the Alabama Crimson Tide will have the best offensive line group in the country. What's your thoughts? Any surprises or uh, what did I pick? Or one is there somebody that should be on that list that's not on that list?
I'm totally in shock about Penn State not being in the top 10. Knowing what they have coming back as far as in the backfield. I didn't know that when it comes to overall rankings, as we've been seeing this, and then not, of course, seeing the Texas and Ohio State, I was totally shocked. Those three teams totally, I was kind of shocked not to see them in there, but understanding what they lost from, last year, but still surprised that those three teams wasn't in there.
Well, it's on me. Uh, I don't think it was the worst top 10. Me personally, I would have moved it around a little bit. Um, this is not a homer pick. This is my honest opinion. And 'cause, before I say that, man, I gotta say, man, like just for the people and off the strength, I'm not gonna say Notre Dame just because I like Notre Dame. Before I'm a Notre Dame fan, I'm a football fan, and
Right.
I believe in keeping it funky. So I would have had Notre Dame at 3 behind Alabama and Texas A&M. Uh, you bring back a freshman who was thrown into the fire last season. Billy Strouf, Ashton Craig. Charles Jagasaw, who's just a behemoth, a monster, and Emil Wagner. Man, I'm telling you, this offensive line at Notre Dame is very big, athletic, and they like to hurt people. So I thought that warranted them being the top three offensive line in the country. Outside of that, I really didn't have it too much different. Like I said, I got Bama and Texas A&M, the top two, followed by Notre Dame. I like Utah, Florida, Oregon, Iowa, Auburn, Miami, and Clemson. I could understand them leaving out Texas, Rob, because and that's not saying y'all gonna have a bad offensive line, but I believe y'all only bringing back one starter, so not that bad of a top 10. I just would have had it a little differently ranked.
I agree. What's your thoughts on this, FanDuel, Zay?
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with post game. I thought Notre Dame's line would be higher on that list. They could have possibly went like 9, 10 deep. I think they went 9 deep last year on that offensive line, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me if I'm wrong post game, but a lot of them guys return, and we got to think about this. They was on their second string guys, just like Ohio State was last year in that national championship game. A lot of them dudes was on there too deep, because they had injuries on that offensive line. So, and I know they returned a lot of them guys. So I would have thought they would have been higher, and uh, the offensive line thing can go two ways with Penn State too, Moss. I could have seen them in there, but we don't know how those quality backs really affect the actual play of that offensive line. Maybe them guys they might get drafted, but are they high draft picks because they got 2 all-world backs? So maybe that's the little difference of why they're not in there. And of course, I think my Buckeyes should be there. We maintained our whole interior of our offensive line. Yeah, we got to replace the right tackle, left tackle. But the Anawa kid that we got from Rice, I think he's going to be a day one guy. And then, of course, we got to fill in that right tackle spot, and that's a little more up in the arms, I believe. But I think we got a solid 4, and we got 3. Well, really all 4 of them, because Ethan, he proved himself at Rice to be a hell of a player. He made all conference. So I think we got 4 guys that's proven on that offensive line. Yeah, we down 1 spot, but them other 3 guys in that interior definitely proved themselves later on in that season last year.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I was looking at the list again as we were speaking, and I was surprised Notre Dame wasn't higher than what they are. A team like Utah, teams like Texas A&M, a few of these teams that we see high in here are teams we've all spoke about different times throughout this offseason since, the championship game up until this point in different ways. And I think I can understand. And I told a lot of people about how I felt about Alabama. I think they're going to totally turn it around. And we seeing that with what we see in this offensive line rating being number 1. So I think, some of the things is, of course, players, coming in, playing that position, being stout in what they do. And at the end of the season, let's see if these numbers have changed, which I'm quite sure we'll see a little shuffle in these numbers as the season progresses. So just something to think about, something to look at, but definitely surprised about a team like Ohio State. And I think Texas will be in there as the season progresses, just seeing what and how it fare out. And Notre Dame, I know they definitely will be a team that's higher. Like we all feel, I think it'll definitely change. And the next one we have up is we're going to go a little bit. We're going to switch up and go to the receiver. One of the positions, I think, in college football, I think over these last few years, I think we can agree it's starting to come back in a different way, man. These are some freak of athletes we see in at the wide receiver position. And we have, again, Notre Dame coming in at number 10, Texas A&M at number 9. We got Texas at 8, with LSU coming in at 7, Georgia 6, Alabama 5, Ole Miss 4, Clemson 3, Auburn 2, and the natty champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes coming in at number one. Any surprises and thoughts about that? We'll start with you, FanDuel, Zaya, since they got your Buckeyes number one. What's your thoughts on this at the wide receiver PFF?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of knew we would be number one right there. I like that they threw Notre Dame in there. I think what's the kid that y'all had last year? Light skinned kid, or is he white? He light skinned or white? Great
Great
House.
house.
Oh
Yeah,
Yep.
man,
great.
he's a monster. Hey, he waiting to break loose on people. I
Yeah,
ain't gonna lie to you, but one team I'm surprised about that's not in there is Miami. I think this Miami receiving corps is going to be a hell of a upgrade for Carson Beck this year. You talking about Joshua Trader, Ray Joseph, and really how you try to measure. Well, me at least, how I try to measure wide receivers. Is really the talent that you've been bringing in your recruiting classes. Joshua Trader was like a 5-star dude. He just waiting to bust out. So was Ray Joseph, and they got a transfer CJ Daniels that I'm high on too. So
Mhm.
man, I like that. I like that Miami's receiving corps, and I like the weapons that Carson Beck gonna have to play around with this year.
Yeah, I agree. What's your thoughts on this one, Post Guy?
I mean, I'm pretty much in agreement with the top 10. Ohio State, you know what they're gonna bring to the table with that monster out there, with Carnell Tate. So, well deserving of the number one spot. Um, my Irish at 10, I can see that. I think there are better receiving rooms in the nation, especially in that SEC. As you see, it's a lot of SEC teams down there. So, I don't have a problem with it. But I would say that I like what Notre Dame has done at the wide receiver position, getting transfer portal or the transfer from Virginia, Malachi Fields, big dude, 6'4", 210-ish, and
Mhm.
win the 50-50 ball. So they're adding that passing element to the team, and I'm excited for it. But as far as the list goes, man, you got some dudes at wide receiver, especially at Ohio State in that SEC. So I'm cool with the list.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing. I'm honestly surprised that Alabama is not closer to Ohio State. We know what Smitty from O Block Fo is what we call him. We started that hashtag last season, and we hope we can come up with that hashtag to be creative, man, because we know what he brings to the table. If Ohio State's not one, something's wrong because you're talking about an elite receiver who, me personally, I feel he can go to the NFL after this season. He's just that good. He could have went this year. I mean, he's just that much of a raw talent. Brian Williams over at Alabama, this sophomore class. Then you got one in Clemson. I think a lot of people don't really pay attention to the freshman. I can't remember his name. I watched him a lot, paid attention to him last year. I want to say Wesson. I can't remember. Great freshman. At Ole Miss, we see what Jackson Dart did last year. They keep a wide receiver core with a few transfers and just the list. I don't see no surprises. I think the SEC and Ohio State holding this spot at the top shows, what it's about, and that's that playoff push. And they reloaded, man. And I think this receiving core, FanDuel, that y'all have these next few years, that's gonna fare together. I'm looking at Smitty, Henry. I don't know what's gonna happen to the world when they get together for 1 year. We get to see that special, you know, talent. So outside of that, I have no problem with it. For the next one is I think a position that's we talk about a lot that's undervalued in the NFL. Over in college football, we know is very highly recognized, and we notice you got to have multiple running backs to make this backfield work. And coming in at 10, surprising me already is Baylor. You got Minnesota at number 9. You got Georgia at 8, followed by Oklahoma at 7, Oregon at 6, Texas A&M at 5, followed by Louisville at 4, Texas at 3, Notre Dame at 2, and Penn State. We are the Nittany Lions at number 1. Thoughts, surprises? Anyone start with you post game on this one?
No, I'm not. I'm not mad at the list. I've always thought like coming into the season, Penn State and Notre Dame, when it came to the running back position, were probably 1 and 2. Whether they're 1 or 2, you can argue. Me personally, of course, I'm going with the Irish as one. But I'm not mad at this list. It's a pretty good list. Maybe Baylor is a little surprising. Uh, maybe Louisville is that high is a little surprising, but not a bad list. But man, I'll tell you what, man, that Notre Dame running back room, I'm surprised personally nobody transferred in the spring because you got Jeremiah Love, man, you got Jadarian Price, Aeneas Williams,
Loaded.
Keedron Young, and Jabron Payne is coming back from injury. Super surprised he didn't transfer, but it's just not enough touches for all of them. But extremely talented room, and if you told me Penn State was one, I'm not mad at that. But I would take Notre Dame one. But excellent list.
For
Uh,
sure.
yeah, I like the list too, man. I knew my Buckeyes wouldn't be in. It's just too much unproven in that room. Um, but I thought Notre Dame, Penn State, and Texas. I think it's interchangeable. I do like what post game said. Like we think that Jeremiah Love probably the best back in the country, honestly. So maybe I would have gave them a nod. Penn State got 2 running backs though. That's the thing. That's why I think they rated them 1. But
Yeah.
Texas gets CJ Baxter back, so a healthy all the way back CJ Baxter could push them to 1.
Yeah.
It, I mean, Minnesota is a notorious program for running the football. I'm not surprised to see Minnesota in there. Oregon lost James though. I'm kind of confused. I got to see what they got because I want to know why they got them so high.
Mhm.
But everything else looks solid for real. Baylor is a throwing program, so they better. We're gonna see what happened with that too.
Yeah. I was that was my thing. Looking at Baylor, seeing them at 10, I thought possibly, if a school like Iowa would have been that 10 spot, over a team like Baylor. But yeah, you was wrong. You was totally right. And I'm not even gonna say a homer with Notre Dame with the run game being number one, because I know we all know what Jeremiah Love brings to the table. I think we in store for a healthy Jeremiah Love this season, and he could possibly hold down that backfield by itself. But like you said, that running back room being as full as it is, it's a reason why. They're going to go with, I think, that two-back system. And I think we're going to see some of that Aeneas Williams. His father was a Hall of Famer in the NFL, and I think we're definitely going to see his son get a lot of burn on that field for South Bend and them Notre Dame Fighting Irish this year. Um, Penn State, we know what they do. Like you said, FanDuel, that two-back tandem is special. I think it's a force. I think it's something if you think about it, we really haven't seen. I think a team, and we know what they're going to do with their identity until how Notre Dame stood stout and they still tried to prevail in the end, the way they ran through the season. So definitely looking forward to see, how they fare out this year. And like you said, with Baxter being healthy for Texas, man, I think the world just don't know what they in for when it comes to that. And I like the way you mentioned that because him being healthy, Texas 3. So that speaks volumes. And we got next.
Hey, hold on. Let me
Talk to
backtrack a
me.
little bit real quick off of something I said, Moss.
Go ahead.
Oregon, I didn't know Oregon got Makai Hughes from Tulane.
Yeah.
Uh, he done busted out 2,800 yards already in college. He done had 1,300 and 1,400, so they warrant their spot all the way. Go ahead, they got it.
He said, because I was about to say
I had to
WTP Sports
backtrack.
Group. It's another one they got. He mentioned, I think, another name about a running back that Oregon might have gotten too that's going to get a lot of play this year with him in the backfield. I think we're going to be in for a rude awakening, seeing a lot of teams possibly go with that two-back system too this
Well, I
year.
don't know if you remember watching Tulane last year, though. He was the offense. He was really the offense.
Yeah. So we definitely going to be looking forward to that. It's that WTP Sports Dudes coming right back in for us. The next position is the quarterbacks. And coming in at number 10 is the Ohio State Buckeyes, national champs, natty champs. Then we got coming in right behind them is the Alabama Crimson Tide, followed by Auburn at number 8, Penn State 7, Miami 6, Clemson at 5, Florida at 4, Arizona State at 3, SMU 2, and LSU at 1. Thoughts, surprises on this quarterback position?
So I mean, we got SMU all the way up there. Don't get it twisted. I like Lil Kev, quarterback over there. But number two, I mean, we probably taking the room for a totality too, and I'm really not familiar with the backups.
Yeah,
But two seem way too high for SMU. If you talking about they got the top two quarterback room in the country, you talking about national title. I don't see that. Uh, but everything else on there looked pretty solid to me. Arizona State, 3, yeah. I think Sam Levitt is probably the best quarterback in the Big 12. Then you got DJ Lagway. Yeah, so that look. I mean, I might drop Miami a little bit just until we see what's up with Carson Beck and that arm, that elbow.
right.
And everybody know I'm not really a Drew Aller guy either, so I wouldn't really probably have Penn State up there. And then we got Auburn, of course. So them 3 in a row: Penn State,
Yeah,
Miami. Well, it was 2 in a row: Penn State and Miami. And really Alabama too. Ty Simpson ain't proved nothing. I think this is more based off of a recruiting rating for real,
yeah,
and not nothing that's concrete and proven. But I do think them teams got a chance to get some good quarterback play and be warranted. I just think I need to see more. Even my Buckeyes, we got a lot of unproven in that room too. So, but like I said, they got super talented guys though.
yeah. What's
Yeah,
your
man, I'm gonna have to agree with my man. I don't know when they did these rankings if they did the room in totality, which they probably did. But I like the guys that are coming back that are proven. Miami, Penn State. I really SMU is really high, and I really like Kevin Jennings, but I think that may be a little bit too high. Arizona State, I'm fine. LSU, man, you know what? A lot of people like Garrett Nussmeier, and I guess he showed flashes, 29 touchdowns, 12 picks last season. But is he really? Is that room really number one with him starting? We'll see. Me personally, I really like John Mateer and Sawyer Robertson from Baylor. I would have maybe had those two teams in there because I think those two quarterbacks have a really good chance of having a hell of a season. So a couple guys, I noticed the South Carolina wasn't in there, and Stellars could be a monster this season. So I had some problems with this probably more than the other ones.
Yeah, I totally agree with both of you. I was looking at the same thing, and if you ask me, I would totally flip Florida to SMU just off the back and continue to shuffle the cards because we talk about your boy from Arizona State, Cade Klubnik from Clemson, and like you just talked about, Mateer from Oklahoma. Um, if we really think about it, Penn State, Allard. If you think about Allard Mateer, who would you rather have in a uniform for Penn State? You know, you think about these things in this ranking. So what are the numbers that come up with this? Is it recruiting? That goes along into it. Is it proving themselves? Because if it's proving themselves the way they talk about Mateer, you should definitely see Oklahoma on here. You should see Florida ranked higher than a team like SMU. Based on the way they speak on Lagway as well as Klubnik. And like you said, Zay, unproven in Alabama with Simpson. Auburn, they do have a quarterback that they have a lot of hope for. We definitely going to see what it does. And if it changes the things over in Tigerland for those guys. But I definitely agree. And with LSU, I'm going to just tell you this post game. News will be loose this season. That's a kid. I've been watching News for some years, man, and it's just his growth. When you ask about a quarterback, we talk about the 25 game plus. This is a quarterback we'll see this year, who's at that point of that 25 plus game, and you will see a lot of things that I would say he had last year that he needed work on. you'll see those things come into play a lot this year. I like the kid. I've just seen a lot of progression, even though they haven't lived up to some of the hype that, people have had on even winning the national championship. But he's going to go out there and leave it on the field. That's what I love about Noose. And he's just an all-out baller. Just my opinion. I love the kid.
All right, hey, before we get Rob's before we get his insight on this, I do want to piggyback off of something that post game tapped into with the South Carolina,
Yes.
because they got my boy Aaron Nolan backing up over there too. He another highly rated guy, and I think we left one team out that probably surprising that they not up here. I wish we had a little honorable mention list to go along with this to see if they was even close. But come on, Colorado, they got Caden Salter, who's a proven winner at this level.
Yeah.
Then they got the 5-star Juju Lewis behind him. So
Yeah.
I mean, I still cannot. You cannot tell me nothing about SMU being there in Auburn. It's just I don't know how they hit the list. I really don't.
Agreed.
Yeah. Texas was the honorable mention at quarterback, though.
And Texas and Ohio State in the same boat. So I think we got a little bit more depth at the quarterback position than y'all. But if you just gonna look at guy number one, them the same dudes to me. They both got to go out there and prove it.
Yeah.
Any thoughts for you, WTP Sports dudes, on the quarterback position?
Let me look at it real quick, and then I'll give you what I think on it. Ohio State, Alabama, Auburn, Penn State. I mean, you know that some of these guys are guys that are coming back, but some of those on that list are guys who really aren't proven yet. So it's like, but I guess that's how it is in college football right now with a lot of those guys. Some of them just aren't proven yet. I mean, I know DJ Lagway can be good, but he played more than Arch Manning did last year, and Arch Manning had better stats.
Way better.
But you got them at 4. Now, I know what he can be, but I don't know. I mean, Nussmeier, we know Nussmeier is probably the most senior out of all of those outside of Cade Klubnik, so I can see that. We saw how bad Carson Beck looked last year. He's going to a Miami team that I think might have had, I don't know if they was up there with receivers or not. I don't know, man. I mean, I guess it's all right, but I'm not sure about Auburn because they only had a running game last year. Now they got the dude from Oklahoma who had no confidence last year. I don't know, man. I guess they got to make a list. So do what you got to do. I like SMU right there where they are, dude, because they're returning a guy who had good production last year. And I like Clemson, but I would probably put Clemson probably at number 1, seeing that they got probably the best quarterback out of all these teams on this list right now. Well, at least proven-wise. I like him better than Nussmeier.
So at the end of the season, you got Klubnik the best out of this group?
Out of these 10 right here?
Yep.
Yeah, I got Clay Klubnik as the best out of them.
What if we throw Arch Manning in there? Who you got? Who you got with Arch in there?
I still got Cade Klubnik because I think he just has way more experience than everybody else, man. He has a ton of experience, and they're gonna yield a much better team than what they had last year, except for maybe at the running back position. So I think Cade Klubnik is going to be solid. Now, I can't sleep on my man over there at Arizona State, though. Yeah. He's going to be really good, man. He's going to be really, really good.
I think he's going to be one of the most dangerous. I'm looking forward to seeing him in that super sophomore back for another season, especially coming off that injury late in the season. And I think they possibly could have been a team to win it, having that receiver, last year. I think losing him was a big part of their offense in that playoff. So yeah. I think, we'll definitely see a different specimen in him this season coming in. So I definitely like him as well.
And both those guys are not going to face the kind of defenses you're going to face in the Big Ten in the
Right.
SEC. So, they're going to look like they out there playing little league football. They 13 and everybody playing against is 10.
Right.
Hey, and I want to say this too. Like, I think they might be basing these rankings based on who they feel like by the end of the season, because I don't really see no other reason why you would put Ohio State or Alabama in there with these unproven guys. Even Auburn, they must expect a leap from these guys. But coming in, I got Cade Klubnik as my number one quarterback. I do not think he's going to finish as the number one quarterback by any stretch by the end of the season. I think their defense is so more all world this year that he ain't gonna have to do what he had to do last year. So his stats is gonna pull back. And I don't know. That's just how I feel. I think somebody like you. I think we're gonna see a quarterback win the Heisman this year, possibly. I think my dude Smitty gonna be right in there. But if it's a quarterback, I think it's gonna be somebody else that got to bring their team up more than the Klubnik would.
Hmm. Like that, Jake. You wanna continue to see at WTP Sports Dudes for the next one?
No, you can go ahead and do your thing.
We got the index with the top 20, and here in the top 20, this was something that opened my eyes. I'm glad you had sent some of the stuff. I actually read and listened to it a little bit too. And these are teams they felt in the top 20 selection of teams they feel that could win the national title. Coming in at 20, we have Kansas State, followed by Florida at 19, and then we have at 18 SMU, Oklahoma at 17, South Carolina at 16. What's your thoughts on this group here?
I mean, I go first. I'm just scanning the numbers like that's underneath. Um, I don't like Kansas State right there. I don't like Florida right there. Florida got the toughest schedule in the country. I don't even like SMU right there, honestly. I'm looking at Kansas State. I'm like, there's no BYU. Where's BYU at?
Yeah.
Um, even like, where's Arizona State at on this list? I don't even see Arizona State. That's not the team I'm taking out of the Big 12. I'm taking Arizona State or BYU. That's the first thing that causes a discrepancy for me. SMU, I mean, I gotta say, well, them teams is ahead of them, but I like somebody else other than SMU. You can grab another Big 12 team for all I care, or a Big 10 team. I don't see no Illinois in here. You got Kansas State over you got Kansas State and SMU over Illinois, and Illinois got a butter schedule, so they look like they're gonna be in the thick of things at the end of the year. Um, Even the Indiana team, if they win one game, I got to check the schedule. I want to say it's on the road at Illinois. If they win that one game, they can be in the thick of things at the end of the year. So just odds basis, and me being a gambler and knowing odds, I mean, I like them two teams odds better than either team in that category.
Yeah, what's this? 20 through 15? Is that
Yeah.
where 20 through
14,
15?
16, 16.
Yeah, I don't think none of these teams will, in my opinion, we'll get a national championship out of the top 8 or 9 teams. One of those teams will pull it off. I don't really think any of these teams have a chance to win a national title. I like I think they may be overrating SMU a little bit just because they went to the playoffs last season. But I really like Kevin Jennings, man. I really do. But I don't think any of those teams have a legitimate chance to win the title when it's all said and done after the season.
Yeah, when I look at it, I guess we'll find out how good Kansas State is when they play that first game. But I mean, it's the first game of the season, and it's in Dublin, Ireland, so you never know what kind of flying or flight hangover they're gonna have in that game. So you really can't judge too much off of it, even though it's a conference game. You want to see them play well. If they do play well, then you know they probably got a chance of doing something in the Big 12. But as far as winning the national title, I doubt it. When you look at Florida and Oklahoma, those two got some schedules that's out of this world. Florida being probably the toughest schedule in college football next year. Well, 2 years in a row, really.
Yeah.
And Oklahoma has a really, really tough slate that they got to navigate. So those two will probably be out of there. SMU won't have enough defensively to compete with some of these big boys. But South Carolina is a team at 16 that I think if they could get a bounce or two there to go their way and they could win that finale against Clemson, they could make some noise if their quarterback can stay healthy.
That's the same thing I'm looking at for myself. If they can stay healthy, if their quarterback in South Carolina, everything you said, I totally agree with. That first game for Kansas State, a lot of people going to try to determine if that's the Kansas State that came into the season with high hopes of a title. So for me, I wonder if SMU is keyed on by other teams defensively of what Jennings has done over the past years. So for me, I think, like you said, the defense is not going to be able to hold up, and teams are keying in on Jennings defensively to halt some of that. For South Carolina, again, can they be healthy with the quarterback, and can they get a couple of those wins, whether they're tight and things to fall their way, late in that SEC season? And like you said, a game against Clemson for sure. They could do that. I think, that's the one team I think that can make a push out of all those teams. We thought they could have been in the playoff last year with, I believe, 4 losses. So I think we definitely just can't put South Carolina on the back burner of all those teams.
Hey, SMU lost Brashard Smith though, all-purpose back. Man, I think that's a crucial loss for them. I love Kevin Jennings too, but I thought of the yin and yang. If they can't replace him, they are not even going to be even close to the same team they were last year. And no, just to speak about something you said in OU, man, if they got any resemblance of an offense and that defense is what it was last year, man, you circle 3 games on their schedule: Michigan, Texas, and LSU for the finale. And if they can go 2 out of 3, man, I could see them really being in the playoffs. They just need to go 2 out of 3 in them games.
That's just a tough conference. And plus, that's a conference you could have 3 losses, and the ball could bounce your way anytime. That goalpost could be friendly or not be friendly, as we seen last year. So, man, I can't wait till week 1. Definitely looking forward to all these great matchups.
You're going to blink your eyes and wake up, and it's going to be football Saturday.
Man, can't wait. That next group we have coming in at 15 is Michigan, 14 Auburn, Ole Miss at 13, LSU at 12, Texas A&M at 11. Is there anyone in this group you can see winning it all?
Ooh.
I think. Go ahead, Post. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I would say out of all those teams, I really like the talent that Michigan has. I don't know if they're ready to win a national championship yet. Not this year, at least. Um, I would have to say LSU probably will have the best chance out of those teams. Like we was talking about Nussmeier earlier. We talked about what Brian Kelly needs to do, and we question if he has the what it takes to win the big games. But if they can put it all together at LSU, man, they can surprise a lot of people this season and possibly be sitting at the top of the SEC when it's all said and done. Will they? I doubt it myself, but they got the talent to be that type of a team. So I'm going LSU.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Texas A&M out of this group. They play your boys' 3rd game of the season, post game. I think that's gonna be the teeter totter for them with which way the season is going. Going to swing for them. If they can win that game on the road and get that momentum early, I could see Marcel Reed and them doing some things. But really, I don't like this group at all. Auburn got an unproven quarterback. Michigan still don't. We don't know. We got the freshman kid, unproven. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin always just find. He's a good coach, but he just finds a way to lose big games to me. So like I feel like my best pick out of this group is Texas A&M by default, just because really, I mean, they play in that station, man, and I think that's the most advantage of all these teams is that stadium that they play in. And I liked it Marcel Reed last year, and he's probably the most dynamic quarterback in this whole group. I love Nussmeier. I think Nussmeier is more of an NFL guy than he's a college quarterback. I think somebody need to get his they hands on him, developing. Um, but like he just don't do it for me in college football
You
either.
freeze
But I
up
see the
again.
huh? You froze. No. I mean, I see the tools with Nuss though. Um, and I don't know. I just think I think Marcel Reed is the most dynamic dude. He'll give you the most trouble out of all these quarterbacks in this whole field right here.
Yeah, I was definitely looking at Texas A&M as a scary team. I think Texas A&M and LSU, man, two sneaky, scary teams this season coming in. Both in a crazy division where we know it could go down every week. Noose is my guy. Reed definitely put me on notice last year. I think if he could get that Texas A&M group winning big games at home, I think they could be a team to watch. But they got that stretch. That 3 game stretch is what I'm worried about. So I'm gonna take LSU. I'm gonna take LSU out of this group. Like you said about Underwood, unproven. You coming in as a freshman, you might have 10 million in back pocket, but you haven't won a game yet in college football. So that's a tough out for me. On the outside looking in. Auburn unproven at the quarterback position. Love what he could bring to the table. Same thing with Ole Miss. So I'm going with LSU. Everybody know I'm a big fan of Noose, and I just think if Loose get loose, he drinking some different juice. And I ain't talking about Gatorade. That's that Noose juice. Go ahead and sign a nil contract, man, and get him going with it. So I like that kid, man, and I think this could be a year where he could possibly take LSU to the top of the SEC. You just don't know with that SEC. You just don't know.
Man, to me, it looked like the quarterbacks 20 through 16 is better than the quarterbacks 15 through 11. Outside of Nussmeier, it
Yeah,
seemed like they got the better set of quarterbacks up there, which means I think they should probably flip flop a couple of those teams.
yeah.
Um, but I won't speak on Auburn, man. I think Auburn's running attack, if they could keep um, Jackson Arnold upright to where he can use his legs and he gets some confidence with his arm, and they can win some of them close games that they lost last year because they're going to have a really good defense and they got a lot of talent on that team. I mean, it's a team that's in the state of Alabama, so they're gonna have some big boys. They're gonna have some athletes. So if I had to pick one of these teams, I'm damn sure not picking Texas A&M because they gotta come. They gotta come to DKR, and we're gonna beat them like they're my little brother, like we're supposed to. I
I
do not trust Brian Kelly to save his life.
know.
I think if he starts off rocky, he is not. He's going to make it to the end of the season because they don't want to make no moves at that point. But his buyout is so high, they probably going to have to cut ties with him, man. And Michigan, I mean, their defense is going to be what it's going to be, but I don't know what they're going to look like offensively. You got to really get you a quarterback in there that can go. And Underwood, I think that's his name. He's a year or two away.
And this next group is pretty good. And in this group, you got Tennessee at 10, Notre Dame at 9, Miami at 8, Clemson at 7, Oregon at 6. Who in this bunch has the toughest road to the college football playoff? That's a
The
good one.
toughest road.
Tennessee.
Mm,
Yeah, because they got like that month stretch where they got to play, I think, Y'all, they play Texas, Georgia, I think Alabama, and Ole Miss or something. FanDuel, you was telling us about this
They
one.
don't play us. They don't play us.
Okay, I forget. It's somebody that they play in this schedule, and in that stretch, it's just insane. Like, I don't know how they gonna get out of that.
The toughest role in this group is by far Tennessee. I mean, just the middle of the SEC is just going to be brutal. I mean, you're going to have your couple teams at the top, but that's where the SEC show their power. It's the middle group of teams. So they're going to beat up on each other once again this year. I mean, it ain't even a question about it in this group of who got the toughest road. Like Clemson, don't get me wrong, Clemson got a tough schedule, I believe, because their first and last game is brutal, and I think they see, if I'm not mistaken, no, they don't play Miami this year. Uh, they got about 4 tough games on their schedule, I believe, though, and I think they play Georgia Tech, and I think that Georgia Tech game is sneaky. Um,
Yeah,
but man, it ain't no way you can go against Tennessee and playing the gauntlet in the SEC when you group them together with these teams. We already went through Oregon's schedule. I respect their schedule a little more than you guys, but y'all think it's butter cakes. You know what I mean? So Tennessee.
yeah.
Yeah, I would have to say I would have to give the nod. If we talking just toughest path, I would give the nod to Tennessee. Um, uh, I personally think my Irish are the best team out of this group, but if we talking road and difficulty and schedule, you gotta give it to Tennessee because if my Irish can come out, start the season 2-0, go to Miami, we have a bye, and then Texas A&M comes to South Bend week 3. If we can start the season off at 2-0, which would be tough and a tall task, considering that we're going to have a brand new quarterback that's never started before, whether that be what's his name? I forget his name, but anyway,
CJ
we're
Carr.
gonna CJ Carr, thank you. CJ Carr, Kenny Minchey. Whoever wins that job, they've never started before. Talented kids, but we just don't know when you have a new quarterback in place. So I would give the nod to Tennessee for sure.
Yeah, just in terms of schedule, I would say Tennessee. But I don't believe that they're the best team out of these 5 teams. There's some really, really good teams in that group. I think Oregon is probably going to be able to win more games than probably anybody in that group, or it had the same amount of wins. Um, Clemson, like beginning and end, is tough. They got to get an LSU team, and then they got to get a South Carolina team that last year beat them. If they're healthy, they're gonna give Clemson some trouble. I think Oregon probably has the easiest path between them and Miami. Um, but yeah, by far, I think Tennessee's schedule is probably the toughest. Because, like FanDuel said, the middle of the SEC is, man, it is brutal. It is brutal. A lot of parity, rather.
And last is a top five. You got Penn State, you got Alabama, Ohio State, and then you have Texas, which they believe has a 84% chance of making the college football playoff. What's your thoughts on the top five?
Bogus. It's bogus. It's bogus. The top five is bogus.
Georgia's got Georgia 5, Penn State, Alabama, Ohio State, Texas. That's what it was.
Georgia is 5.
My
Georgia's in
bad.
there. Nah, you good. Georgia's in that group with that.
Yeah, you see a whole bunch of SEC bias right here. That's what I call it. Clemson should be in the top 5. And looking at Oregon's schedule, I don't think it's butter cakes like that, but I think they definitely can go 11-1 very easy. Um, and even Notre Dame, like post game said, they take care of their first 2 games. The next best team they play is who? Arkansas or something. Uh, I mean, all 3 of them teams could make a case for being in the top 5. Bama, Nick Saban ain't there no more. This ain't the same Bama. Like I don't listen. that's just all SEC bias to me. Ohio State, Texas, and Penn State should be there, but the other two slots, Georgia got an unproven quarterback, and Bama is not Bama no more. So the other three teams should definitely have a case to be in that top five.
I'm gonna just say this on Bama because I know we got them guys coming out week one. I'm a Ryan Williams fan. That's all I'm gonna say. And
Bad dude.
I mean, just unbelievable talent. I think, when it comes to SEC play, outside of this Florida State game week one, I think Alabama is definitely going to be a team that's different. I think from, the likes of what I've seen in the quarterback, I think it's one of those quarterbacks that would fit their system perfectly, in ways of managing that ball. A lot of unproven, of course, we're going to see in some quarterbacks this year to start. But I'm looking at what some quarterbacks looking like game 5, game 6. And this is one Simpson for Alabama. I'm looking at how he show up after the loss to Florida State Seminoles week 1.
Yeah, man. I mean, I really, I'm not the biggest on Penn State. I think they gotta prove they can win against the elite teams. I agree with Duel on Bama. This is not Nick Saban's Alabama teams. Georgia, quarterback position. Other than that, that roster is going to be loaded with talent because that's what they do. I definitely would have had Notre Dame and probably Oregon up in this tier. Texas and Ohio State, I have no problem with them. Although I would give Ohio State just off the strength that they won the championship as number one. But Texas or Ohio State, either or I'm cool with. Outside of that, like I say, man, Bama and Penn State, maybe Georgia, I'm not so sure about.
Yeah, I agree. This committee was 11 on the SEC. I mean, they had 11 of the 20 teams, and then here in the top, you don't know what Alabama's really gonna look like. That is not Nick Saban's Alabama, and we don't know what Georgia's gonna look like. We know they're gonna have a good football team, but are they number two good? Especially when they lost a whole lot on the offensive line, the defensive line. They're bringing back a core of receivers that are pretty good, but they're breaking in a brand new quarterback who we know was kind of scatterbrained in the game when he came in against Texas. Even though he made some plays with his legs, he didn't throw the ball all that well. And I'm not sold on Penn State either. I'm with post game on that. I'm not sold on Penn State. Now I know they're going to play solid defense and they're going to have a really good running game. But until Drew Allar can show me that he can throw the football down the field further than 20 yards, teams are going to find out that, listen, all we got to do is handle this box and we can beat Penn State.
Yeah, I agree, man. I like how we break that down. That's something I'm looking at this season. I'm going to cut to the chase. Allar, in order for y'all to get a national title, you got to throw that ball 30 yards or more. I don't see nothing more to anything against what y'all said. I think in order for Penn State to win a national championship, they're going to have to do that. I don't think no one's going to let them run the ball like they did last year throughout the season and go through a college playoff running the ball to win a championship. As we've seen Notre Dame stand out and do the opposite against them. So, totally agree. Any thoughts, just to put this out there, out of that top 5, even we're going to stretch it to the top 15, with the few moves that you may think. Anyone possibly could challenge these Buckeyes going against possibly repeating for this national championship?
Oh, absolutely. It's college football, bro. Anything goes in college football. Listen, Texas going to be right there. Penn State going to be right there. Who else? Oregon going to be right there. Clemson, Miami, Notre Dame. I can see whoever the top team out of the Big 12 is that come out, and I can see OU right there. So yeah, it ain't, bro. It's hard going back to back. This ain't no just, you know what I mean, people don't do that. So if we didn't win it all this year, I wouldn't be surprised. And I would take, if I'm a betting man, I'm just saying I am a betting man. But I now listen, I do got to bet though that we're gonna
Right.
win it all this year already. You know, that guy say he wanted it in all ones. But I would take the field for real. Like, you know what I mean? I would take the field over Ohio State. You know, it's just too many unknown variables. You can't control a lot of things. Like they say, you need luck and skill. So I mean, we had a couple balls bounce our way last year. You feel me? That don't mean we're gonna get the same balls to bounce our way this year. You know what I mean? So, but I'm gonna roll with my guys. I'm
Yeah.
gonna always roll with my guys. That's it.
Yeah,
And then,
can't be.
go ahead, post
Go
guy.
ahead, right? No, I was just gonna say, can't be mad at that. You know what, man? It's if Sellers can improve, I can see him having one of those special type seasons. Y'all can remember the season Cam Newton had at Auburn. Nobody can name me another offensive player that was on that team. And they was undefeated and he took that team to the national title. I'm not saying Sellers is Newton, because me personally, I believe Newton is the greatest college quarterback of all time, but that's another discussion for another day. But if Sellers is progressing, everything comes together for South Carolina, I could see him pulling off some magic this season.
I definitely like your take on that, man. That's definitely a great take. I mean, I love when I seen him the first game last year. I had dozed off on a game before, and them 3:30 games be the games you watch after taking a nap. So I was locked in, and it woke me up that game and kept me out my seat. I can't remember if it was the LSU game, which game exactly, but I mean the kids is special, and we say that about a lot of different kids and athletes today. But I mean it's just good to see the special talent and knowing that when we played the sport, but being able to watch it and see it and talk about it, it's just something. So I definitely agree with that as well.
Yeah, and he definitely gonna have to play lights out, man, because they got a pretty decent schedule. I mean, they got Virginia Tech. They got three straight home games. They play Missouri, which we know Missouri ain't no good. They get Kentucky at home, but then they got a stretch where they play LSU. Then they get Oklahoma. Then they get Alabama. Then they get Ole Miss. Then they get Texas A&M. That 5 game stretch right there, man, is going to be rough. And if he can navigate that and stay healthy and come out of that thing,
Mm.
you're talking about a really, really special season. And then, of course, they get Coastal Carolina, game 11. I know bad dude like that. And then
Hmm.
they get Clemson at the end.
A stat pattern. That's all it is. A stat pattern.
Yeah.
When you look at that top 5 list, man, Ohio State is going to be the team that has a target on their back. Everybody wants to get up and beat the national champion, man, the defending national champion. So everybody's going to be gunning for them. And I think if they make it to the playoffs, they're going to be so tested, man, that they could be the team that could possibly repeat, which I didn't think any team would be able to repeat once they went to this 12-team playoff, but they might be a team that can do it if they gel well enough over the course of the season with a new quarterback. The defense does its thing, and you got a weapon like Jeremiah Smith that's probably unstoppable. They could be tough, man. They could be tough.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
hey, post game. Let me know when we can have that conversation because I think the greatest college quarterback ever is Vince Young. So we gotta let me know when we can have that conversation. Not tonight though.
Hey, hey,
I gotta get to
hey,
sleep.
hey, I gotta tell you though, man, I'm not mad at that pick. I'm not mad at that pick. But
My
I
God.
will say, go ahead.
Nah, you good. Go ahead. I'm just thinking out loud.
I still would take Cam Newton because, like I said, man, he had. There's nobody outside of Nick Fairley on the defensive line. There's not one teammate you can name me on that team. Cam Newton was just a monster. Oh my goodness! And the teams he beat,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have
bruh.
to line that up. We're gonna have to get in the chat. We're gonna set you up for that one post game. We got you. This just got me
But
elevated for that chat.
you know what? I will say this about Ohio State, man. If Saiyan is Super Saiyan with those receivers, look out, man. Look out.
I agree. I like that.
The only thing that concerns me about Ohio State at the beginning is Brian Hartline being a first-time play caller. If they turn over the entire reins to him, is he going to be able to do it? Because, I mean, you got game one out the gate. You got Texas game one out the gate.
Yeah.
If he's going to be the play caller, is he going to be able to make the adjustments on the fly like a veteran like Brian Kelly, Ryan Day? So I wonder if they're going to have kids' gloves on him in the beginning because it's such a tough game. It's such an important game. Even though it's the first game of the season, you want to get that win.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about Brian Hartline calling his very first game of the season. I know as the season progresses, he's going to get better. But to have such a play calling duty at the first game of the season, with this being his first time being a play caller, I'm interested to see how that's going to go.
I like it.
Hey, Rob,
But
I wanted to ask you real quick, man. I believe Texas only returns one starter on the offensive line. Am I correct when I say that?
We have one returning starter from last year. Our center played right guard and started the whole season his freshman year, but then he got moved out
Mm.
by DJ Campbell. So he has a lot of playing experience. And then, of course, Trevor Gooseby. The issue right now for Texas is their left guard is we don't know what we're going to get with him. He's been in the
So
system for 4 years, but we don't know what the hell we're going to get out of him.
so with that being said, do you see the week one matchup as a game where Arch Manning is maybe running around, scrambling, using his legs more? Or do you think y'all O line can hold up week one? It probably as the season progresses, I'm sure with the talent y'all get, y'all offensive line to start to gel. But do you think for that week one matchup, Texas will be using Arch Manning's legs more in that type of a matchup?
The design runs, maybe not so much, but they're going to have situations where they're going to have him where there might be a guy that they let uh, not necessarily come free, but a guy, just one guy that he has to really have to account for. And if he got the time to throw it, he can get the throw off. But if not, then they're going to expect him to be able to buy some time and get around that one guy. But they're probably going to play a lot of 12 personnel if this tight end situation works out the way they see it working out. They'll probably play a lot of 12 personnel against Ohio State in that game at least 30% of the time, especially during short down and distances.
and I can't wait till that game, man. I'm just looking forward to it myself. It's just been so much hype around it. And out of all the rankings, man, Texas is the team that they got to win it all. They got them winning the championship in some of the rankings. Texas and Ohio State set a top five of fairly all the rankings that, when it comes to certain things that we look at in different ways as well, when it comes to it. So I think this week one matchup is definitely going to have a lot of implication throughout the season. You know, how each conference is even doing. And we're seeing a lot of conference matchups, Big 12 versus SEC, Big 12 versus ACC, SEC, Big 10, SEC, ACC. So we're seeing a slew of matches in this first week, and I think it's going to have a lot to factor in throughout the season as forward, as well as coming to the playoff as the season goes through this year upcoming. So just
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Bama versus Florida State. That's the game I can't wait for. I'm
yes,
looking
sir.
forward to it.
Hey, can't wait, man. You know I'm ready. Me and Dad's probably gonna watch that together. I told Dad, I said we probably watch that game together, man. And I don't really leave the house to watch no big games, but with a fellow No and Dad's, I definitely do it.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna be watching that first game by myself too. Don't be calling me, bro.
Oh,
Don't be calling me.
you don't want to hit the
Nah,
weekend,
man,
bro?
I ain't gonna be able to do it. No, we going to the game. That's right, we going to the game. That's
We
right.
supposed to be going to the
Yeah,
game
we're
for
supposed to be
real.
going
For
to
real,
the
for
game.
real.
Yeah.
So
If we don't,
Mossberg,
we don't get the tickets, then yeah.
you got full the Seminoles pulling off the upset.
I got Florida State beating Alabama and Doak Camel and Doak
Hey man,
Campbell. You know,
hey man.
first time out this year.
If I'm you, I'm sprinkling a couple of dollars on the money line because if they pop Alabama, you gonna cash out, man.
I'm sending some to Parlay Poe and FanDuel Zay. They don't even know it yet.
The thing that concerns me about Florida State, though, if they do lose that game, will they go into that mental shell like they went in after they lost to Georgia Tech that first game of the season?
Yeah,
And
right.
I hope that's not the case. I hope they play so well that they don't go into a shell, even if they lose. But if they lose it and they lose it lopsidedly, I hope they don't go in the shell, man. I hope they don't go in the shell.
Totally agree.
Sometimes you got to trust the process, man, and understand that Rome wasn't built overnight.
Agree. And this is year 3, so it's time for it to get that swagger back and build up for what we ran for that undefeated season. I don't know. I just feel so different about the team. A lot of things been happening lately. A lot of even on the recruit side, you know, in the next year, upcoming year after. So I just feel different, especially that week 1 being home. I think, you know, the preparation, you know, that we've had over this spring, going into the upcoming season, I think that's where the difference is. Knowing what we got to go up against, and Ryan Williams. I mean, we know what we got to go against, a true dog, true talent. But I think it's just going to be one of them days where our secondary ball out, and we see what's coming in the play for the season to come. So definitely looking forward to it myself.
I got a question for you, Zay. I need you to put it on record right here tonight. Does the Ohio State Buckeyes walk away with the Cup Award winner and the Thorpe Award winner?
Ooh.
Absolutely, man. You know they cheated us last year, bruh. Everybody know they cheated us last year. But I mean, Trav got one. But the Thorpe, bro. No, what was it? Who got the Thorpe? Barron. Barron got the Thorpe, didn't he?
Yeah.
Man, yeah, they cheated us out of that one last year, man. They owe us. They owe down. They don't like giving Ohio State players awards, though. I've noticed that. That's why I could see us winning both of them awards, and Smitty not even get an introduction to the Heisman ceremony. He probably won't even be there. They probably had 3-4 quarterbacks.
I like that. You just made me think of a question for post game. Do 2 of your star players go over 1,000? One of them being 1,200 yards receiving in Great House, and one is 1,100 yards rushing in Love. Do they both eclipse that this year?
No, I don't think Marcus Freeman wants to run the ball. I think we'll be better. Uh, we'll have a better passing attack without Riley Leonard this season, but I don't think we have a receiver over 1,000 yards. Jeremiah Love, you can book that. A lot of people pick him to win the Heisman. I'm not sure if he can win the Heisman just off the simple fact that I don't I don't know if he's going to have enough volume. Like Notre Dame with they want to have multiple backs. They want to use multiple backs. They not just going to run them to the ground with 25, 30 carries. No, he probably get 10, 15 carries a game. But what they're going to do with him and why he still has a chance to be in the Heisman conversation is that they're going to involve him more in the passing game. 1,000-yard receiver at Notre Dame, that's not going to happen this season. I think, 7, 8 is reasonable maybe for Gray House. I don't even think Gray House is going to be. Nah, let me backtrack. Gray
Yeah,
House might Gray House might be our best receiver, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Malachi Fields, man. Just the way that dude can get downfield. Uh, Gray House will be more in the slot this season, but no, we definitely won't have a 1,000-yard receiver this season. Well, the passing game will be better, but we won't have a 1,000-yard receiver.
Cool. Anything anybody else got for this evening?
yeah, we'll have to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we might not have any. Ryan Wingo is our best chance of getting 1,000-yard receiver, but we didn't have one last year. We got close, and then Xavier Worthy's been our last 1,000-yard receiver and probably the last maybe 6 or 7 years. I think what's the name did it with Tom Herman. So it's not something that's going to happen. We're going to spread the ball around a lot. So if a guy get 1,000 yards receiving, it won't come until the 17th game of the season, and hopefully that's in the national championship.
And on that note, since you said that, I'm gonna say we do. Deuce Robinson goes for 1,000, and that's playing them extra games in Florida State, being in that college football playoff. I'm putting it in the air.
You know what's crazy? He was recruited out of high school as the number one tight end, and they switched him to wide receiver.
Yeah,
That's how
But yeah,
fluid. That's how fluid he must have
he
been.
cold, man.
yeah,
He been tearing up in
yeah,
camp, bro.
yeah. That dude huge, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Texas was recruiting him hard at tight end. We thought, in fact, we thought we was gonna get him, but he had other plans.
Anybody have anything else for tonight, or
I'm good.
I think we 12 weeks away. We still on 13. I think I might be moving too fast.
88, what is it, 88 days?
88 days, man? College football will be here. And we just want to thank everybody that's always out there liking, watching, subscribing. Make sure you do that. Chat in the comments. Go through all our videos, man. We just coming to do what we do. Loving to talk sports on a weekly basis, day to day. And you already know how we heat up in our chat, man. It just gets explosive. We're going to definitely come to you with that quarterback of college football, the greatest quarterback of college football all time talk for you as post game was chiming in on. So we're going to definitely bring that to you. And I'm going to pass it over to WTP Sports Dudes to give us a shout out to our sponsors as well.
We want to thank our sponsors for this show tonight on this fine Tuesday evening. Our man Super Cat Nano, who makes our music. You can find him on YouTube. Our man Kevin Bird and his wife Tammy. They got KT's Good Eats LLC, where you can get your food catered through their catering business. Trust me, their food is banging. So you want to find him on Instagram at Kevin J. Bird. That's Bird spelled BYRD. You can find him on Instagram and also his sister-owned social nutrition, Sips and Good Conversation. You can find her at 3136 South Hamilton Road, just south of Refugee Road, down in the plaza, down in that little valley. Really, really nice product that she has there. Nutritional shakes and energy teas. And last but not least, our man, the Chief. This young man has his own apparel line, and he can make you something authentic if you like. But check him out on Instagram and on TikTok at the Chief. That's DECHIEF.5991. We're 88 days away from my man FanDuel Zaya slamming his beer to the ground in disgust because his Buckeyes go down to my Longhorns. So everybody that's sitting around FanDuel Zaya, get ready to get beer on your shoes because he about to slam a drink after that game.
Hey, we supposed to be at the game, so it's gonna go on you.
No, I'm already gonna be celebrating away from you because I know you're gonna be hot.
As we always do, man. Appreciate it. Post game, we appreciate you all the way from South Bend, Indiana, repping that Notre Dame, Colts, all your respective teams. Anyone out there, man, you want to talk your sports, whether you play or you still playing right now actively, man, get with us. We can get you on here, bring you on, and you can have join the show, and we could just have our fun as we do and talk your sports respectively as well. Other than that, as we always say here at the WTP Sports Dudes, peace. Y'all have a great evening, and we'll be back with another.
Uh.